If you didn't see my last video, shade is your friend, at least in the Texas garden. This shade is what's enabling me to grow my warm season greens. This is amaranth. There's this beautiful kind and this beautiful kind, and then here's another type. And they're just growing so well under this shade cover. It helps keep the soil moist and keeps that harsh Texas sun off of them so that they can do their best growing. And the shade cover is also going to enable me to start one of my favorite plants, calendula, for skincare. I'll take the flowers and steep them in oil and make a wonderful healing oil for my skin, and that's what I use for my skincare. So I have lots of calendula seeds, but I wanted to try these kinds from Baker Creek that have the double blossom, because it's those rich petals, that emollient factor that I'm wanting to get out of these. So I thought double blooms might be fun for me. So I'm gonna do that. I'll show you how. Now, calendula is also called pot marigold. And while marigolds are a warm season flower, these are a cool season flower. They really like the cool weather. Every year I plant them in these blocks around my garlic beds, and I cover them in the winter when it freezes, and they bloom mostly in early spring and make a wonderful bloom for skincare for me. This year, because of my shade, I'm gonna go ahead and get an early start on them, and hopefully maybe I'll get a little bit of a fall harvest also. So we're gonna find out. Shade, glorious shade. I hope I can pick this up on camera, but the calendula seed looks so funky, doesn't it, you guys? I've never seen a seed quite like it. I should mention to you guys, if I could grow one plant in the garden as a market plant that I could make money for the homestead off of, it would be this calendula. I think I've thought about making more room, more beds of it, and selling the oil, the infused oil, as a skincare routine, a skincare product. Whew, you guys, that is enough for me out in the garden this morning. I know it doesn't translate in the videos because I've been editing them, and I know, but it is really hot and humid out here. It really just zaps the energy out of you. So I'm ready to get in and get started on some garden projects indoors in the air conditioning. We got a great garlic haul, and the first step to processing it is just kind of cleaning it up. Got some good cloves. Some are tiny. What occurs to me as I'm cleaning up this garlic is that I knew it would take a while to grow the vegetables, and I knew it'd be a learning curve, but it was the processing that I didn't really factor in. How much time it takes to process all this food, clean it, get it on your table, get it stored. That takes almost as much time as growing it, it seems like. And is as much of a learning curve in some ways, because some vegetables I wasn't knowledgeable about how to process it and save it, or even to cook it in dishes, like beets, kale, not to mention all the interesting summer greens that I get. Anyway, we are going to take this wonderful garlic harvest. Hang on, let me show you. I'm almost done. Ta-da! Look at that, you guys! We're gonna save some to plant our garlic in the fall as soon as the weather cools down a bit in October. And then the rest of it, we're gonna process. Some of it we're gonna leave to use fresh because I love garlic, use it in almost every meal. And then some of it we're gonna grind up and dehydrate so that we can store it a little bit longer, because when the weather cools off, it seems like the broccoli knows inside there that it's time to plant, because it starts to sprout green. It kind of starts to shrivel up. It's not really usable anymore, you know, unless you put it out in the garden to grow more. So let's process this garlic. I've got to save enough cloves for planting the next season. I'm gonna save the largest ones. I wish I counted how many cloves I used the last growing season, but I'm just gonna try to estimate the square footage of my bed. Now, the reason I've never saved garlic before is because I always have to worry about unwrapping, crushing and unwrapping these individual cloves. But then a friend told me, don't even worry about them. Just throw them into the processor the way they are, skin and all. Of course, you take off the main paper wrapper. Chopped up really well. I think my hands might smell like garlic for a while. I know my house does. I spread it out as thin as I could on one of those dehydrator sheets. But if you're using the oven at a low temperature, you could easily just use a cookie sheet with parchment paper. I put it in my dehydrator for about 24 hours. And then when it's all dry, just crumble it up, put it in any blender that you want. Even a coffee grinder would work. And then I like mine a nice fine powder so I could sprinkle it on all sorts of dishes. And there you have it, garlic powder. A great way to store your harvest. I wish you guys that we had smell-o-vision because it smells so good. Just a really strong garlic smell, and it's gonna taste great in dishes. That is a homestead victory for sure. Keep it in a dry, sealed jar in a cool place, and it will last up to a year, you guys. Hey you guys, I'm starting some fun seeds that I really wanted to tell you about for this fall. I started my seed search with some zinnias, like a fall color. I'm especially excited about these. So while I was on the site, oh, and there's my Swiss chard. I want to do some fresh Swiss chard because mine is going to be looking tired after the summer, so I'm going to do that. But I ran into these seeds that I was really excited about. I'll show them each to you and talk to you about them, but I'm excited about these seeds because Texas is just a tough place to grow plants. We have a really short spring, we have a hot drought summer, and then we have a really short fall, cool fall, and then it freezes. It freezes quite a bit during the winter, so it's just a hard climate to grow things in. So when I find something unusual that's a little bit different that really works, or that looks like it will work, the thing I like about Baker Creek heirloom seeds is in the description, the people can review the seeds. They can review the plant and they can tell where they're from, what growing zone. So I'm looking for Texas or 8B growing zone, and I've seen how they perform, and I found some jewels, you guys, that I think you'll be interested in. Spinach has always been a really hard crop for me in Texas. One year, count them one, it really turned out well, but the other years, no. So I want some cool season greens. Lettuce has also been a challenge in Texas. It bolts really quickly. It tastes bitter. And in the fall into winter, the days are so short that it just doesn't grow very much. Oh my gosh. The cicadas are so loud. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but man, I'm trying to film here. Be quiet. Anyway, all of these had really good reviews, kind of thinking outside the box with some really interesting greens. I'm not even going to try to say them all to you. I'm going to just show them to you. These are the ones I'm trying for my weird Texas growing season. I would love to hear if you have a plant that you're planting for fall that really works for you, that's kind of uncommon. Maybe you're in Texas too and you've had some challenges with plants. I would love to hear about it in the comments. If you have even a melon, anything that you do that you're like, oh, this really worked for me. It provided a lot of food for my family. Right, you guys, let's get planting. One of my favorite things to do is to start seeds, you guys, and hope for tomorrow and hope for cooler weather.
Hey y'all, how's it going, dawg? How you doing, dawg? Hey, let's do some garlic, dawg. We're getting this garlic up in here and really do it fine, bro. You know what I'm talking about.